All right. Hopefully we have everyone on in this new Zoom world. I am PJ Browning, President and Publisher of the Post and Courier, and we are delighted to have you with us this afternoon. We've got a lot of people attending, and that's so exciting. We are going to introduce our Columbia team today. And before we do that, I do want to just spend just a couple of minutes. I get a lot of questions about why we're expanding into Columbia and certainly other statewide expansions. So I thought I would start out with addressing that first, and certainly happy to answer any questions. We're a family-owned newspaper, and we have long been a part of South Carolina, and we certainly enjoy providing really good content for South Carolinians. And I think what we really looked at when we looked at the business model of the newspaper was just the opportunity to provide scale and really do more good journalism in South Carolina. So, we looked at Columbia, which of course is its richness with all of the State House news it provides. And when we bought the Free Times a few years ago, we really had the opportunity to start looking at adding some additional content from that State House reporting to the Free Times. So through that, we've learned a lot about Columbia, and we'd like to be able to just further that and be able to provide really good local content. So State House reporting is not something that's new to us. We also have really good projects team, so we really like to focus on those projects that are important to South Carolina, whether that be education reform or holding our government officials accountable. So with all of that, we really, in this digital world and in the print world, to some degree, we're able to really expand our reporting to South Carolina. And so that's really been our focus and what we're working on. With that, I'd really like to have you meet the team. I would like to start with Andy Shane, who is our managing editor. And with that, Andy, I'll turn it over to you.
All right. Well, thank you, PJ, for that introduction, and obviously thank you for, the commitment that the paper has made to Columbia, to the capital city. I think it's made us a stronger paper statewide. I think it's has really given us a chance to help inform people in Columbia, maybe in a different way than they've been informed, with obviously a group of journalists who are looking at things, I think, in a very a watchdog way, in a very in-depth way. And in a way that I think really engages readers and really gives them the news, the information, the context that they're looking for. One of the things I've lived in Columbia for close to 15 years now, and one of the things I really marvel about the city is how much it's really changed. I mean, when I first came here, people talked about, well, we weren't Charleston or we weren't Greenville, but I think in that time, Columbia has become much more of a place where people come, visit, a destination, things to do, even from having a minor league baseball team. Of course, we've always had University of South Carolina football, but where our restaurant game has really stepped up in recent years. And I think, and also we've had the NCAA basketball tournament here. So, I mean, there's just been a lot of things that have been exciting and going on in Columbia and growing in Columbia. And I'm glad to have been a part of it for the past, 10, 15 years, and especially for the past 4.5 years, working for the Post and Courier and for Free Times. One of the things that we're looking for, is that, we want people in Columbia to realize that we are covering the city. We are covering Richland County, Lexington County, as well as, of course, state government, University of South Carolina, the things that impact news statewide. So we're looking for folks to subscribe, and it's easy enough to subscribe to both the newspaper, which, by the way, when you do subscribe, you get access to everything that the Post and Courier does. That includes the award-winning journalism that comes out of our Charleston newsroom, our base newsroom, but we also, of course, now have newsrooms in Myrtle Beach and in Greenville, as well as our sister papers, such as those in Aiken and Somerville and Moncks Corner and such. When you subscribe, you get access to all of that. So I think it's a real value, and you also are getting very comprehensive coverage when you do that. You can do that by going to postandcourier.com/Columbia. And I'd also encourage you to subscribe to our newsletters. We have here in Columbia newsletters targeted, again, at the community, both on news, for what to do on the weekend, again, part of our work with Free Times, food, which of course is always of interest to folks. People want to know where to eat and what's opening and closing, as well as we're going to be starting a business newsletter very soon. So obviously for those folks who want to keep up with business news around town, we're going to give you a weekly snapshot of that. And again, all of that is available at postandcourier.com/Columbia. So please feel free to check us out. And as I said, check out the page where we have dedicated news to Columbia right there in one shot if you don't want to have to go all over the place and find it, but also easy access to the rest of everything that the Post and Courier and our parent company, Evening Post Industries, has to offer. I guess we're supposed to introduce the team, so I'm going to go ahead and start with myself. I'm Andy Shane. I am the Columbia managing editor here for the Post and Courier. I have been with the Post and Courier, as I said, for 4.5 years, since 2016. I worked at the paper in town here for close to a decade. I've also worked in Charlotte and in Myrtle Beach. I've covered everything from local government to courts to the military. I got to go to Saudi Arabia actually during the first Gulf War. In Charlotte, I got to cover all sorts of things. I was Mr. Watchdog. I was a consumer writer for a while. I also got to live for 2 weeks in the infield at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And if you buy me a beer, I'll tell you some great stories about that. Since I've been in Columbia, I've covered business. I've covered the Gamecocks. I've covered politics, including governor's races, presidential races. And also spent a year being the editor of Free Times as well, which was a lot of fun because I got to deal with a lot of things I've never dealt with before: music coverage, entertainment, and the like. And that was a lot of fun to do for all of that. I have, in town here, I have coached my daughter's soccer team. I have started a backpack program at my daughter's school for kids who needed meals on the weekends. I've volunteered at soup kitchens. I am on the board of the Columbia Rotary, as well as a statewide group called the Center for Fathers and Family, which I would ask you to check out. It's a very interesting group that I'm a part of. I'm married. I have a daughter who's a senior in high school who I'm teaching how to drive. So this is actually the most calm I've been all week, believe it or not. So with all of that, but as I said, I've enjoyed living here in town, and it's I also, when there were games, I'm a regular tailgater at USC. It's been, as I said, it's been a great time here. So before I introduce the rest of the team, I want to talk about two people who aren't here with us today. They're both just couldn't make it with us today, and one of them is my assistant editor is Shauna Hadcox. Shauna is, maybe some of you who do follow the media. She is pretty much the dean of the State House press corps at the moment. She has covered during 2 stints. She has covered the State House for close to 2 decades now. She is from Williston. She went to Williston Elko High School, and she also went to Winthrop University. She's worked in Cheraw, Fort Mill, Rock Hill, and she's also lived in Albany, New York. So she got a little taste of being up north, decided she wanted to come back down south. And she's been with us, I think, for close to 3 years now. She covers the State House, a number of other things for us. She wanted us to let you know that she has a stepdaughter and 2 grandchildren. She sings soprano in her church choir, and Lord knows in this room we don't have enough sopranos, so we need more. Her husband and she and her husband like to go to concerts. Boy, did they go to a lot of concerts. They're great at that. They like to dine and travel and obviously be with their friends. The other person who's not here today is our food writer, David Clary. David's been with us for about a year now, covering food, restaurants, that kind of thing with Free Times. He still is. David is from the Midwest. He was born, educated there, but he's acclimated very well to the South fairly quickly. I think it's easy to acclimate down here, really. Since coming to town, he's able to report on the ways of the pandemic, because he's pretty much been here most of his time during the pandemic. How it's affected the industry. It's heard it, how the industry is trying to manage through all of this. So that's what he's been focusing on. Everything from how food trucks have emerged as a way of getting around some of the issues that have been happening, as well as restaurants that are deciding to stay open and closed. He says his favorite spots to stop by in town to eat and drink are the Warmouth for food and drinks. And he also likes the Front Coffee Shop and Tap, which is across the street. He also likes to go to the Weco Bottle and Beer Garden. And whenever a food truck is posted up there, he likes to go to Foloclara. Sorry, Foloclara. Sorry, I'm mispronouncing it for pizza. So that's where that's David and Shauna. And as I said, I'm sorry they couldn't be here with us today. So let's go ahead and start meeting the rest of the team that we have here in Columbia, the 13 journalists that we have here in town. The first person I'm going to introduce you to is Adam Benson. And Adam has promised to keep his discussion of the New England Patriots down to about 5 minutes. Adam.
Thanks, Andy. My name's Adam. I'm a transplant to New Englanders, and he just sort of gave away there. That's okay, though. I've been in South Carolina since 2016 and at the Post and Courier for a year now almost, and I'm absolutely thrilled and honored and excited to be here, a part of the Columbia team. My primary focus is on K-12 education in the Midlands, which I can't think of anything that's more crucial right now to the vast majority of our readers. It's really at the nexus of pretty much everybody's lives right now, whether they have kids or not, focusing on when schools are going to be reopening, how that's happening, the concerns around what schools are going to look like in the age of the pandemic. But I'm also sort of a jack of all trades, I guess. Andy likes to toss me into the fire, which I appreciate. I've covered protests on the State House grounds. I've covered tornadoes that have swept through our state. I've helped on coronavirus coverage, just you name it. I think that Columbia has nothing but room to grow, and I'm really excited to get out and tell those stories as much as I can. When I am not working, which is rarely, I am really loudly and obnoxiously rooting for the Patriots. I've insisted that I'm the chairman of the New England Patriots Columbia fan club. It's just me, so if you're out there and you want to join, please do. I love checking out local restaurants. Usually I'm at Mencoy more often than not. And I just feel like, this is an amazing opportunity for journalism to be told well in Columbia, and I'm honored and delighted to be here. So thanks.
Well, Adam, we're happy to have you, and yes, I have put your feet to the fire, and you've responded very well. So I appreciate all of that and all the hard work that you've put into that. So next up is our sports writer in town, David Kloniger. David has been covering sports, for years. I met David when we were covering basketball together during the Darren Horn days. And we're still recovering from that, but we're doing okay, I think. So, David, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what it's been like covering the Gamecocks?
How's it going? David Kloniger here, originally from Rock Hill, South Carolina, but I've been in Columbia off and on since 1996. And most of that time I've been covering South Carolina athletics, football, men's basketball, women's basketball, baseball, anything you name it, including up to the prevalent topic of today, coaching buyouts and those kinds of things. So if you have a question, just email me at dklonigerpostandcourier.com. I'll be sure to answer it. But also, if you just want to talk to me about what's going on in Columbia, I can definitely point you to some great places to eat or just great places to hang out. Would have to start with Village Idiot, of course, best pizza in town. And then if you want to go right up Divine Street and grab some chicken wings at the Public House, those are the best to go to in the capital city. And I'd have to at least have strong words with anybody who says different or disagrees. But primary focus is sports. When I'm not watching sports, it's usually trying to talk to somebody associated with sports, trying to keep ahead of everything that's going around here. And with South Carolina, with the University of South Carolina, there's always going to be something to talk about, especially in this age where there's a lot of COVID-affected closures and postponements and things of that nature going on. So don't be hesitant to reach out to me and ask what's on your mind about Gamecock athletics.
And David, you got a little one you're chasing around these days.
Sure do. He's a 9-month-old. His name is Matt, and he's the thrill of my life. So he definitely keeps me on my toes.
And has he been recruited yet? That's what we have to ask. How many letters has he got?
Well, actually, I'm going to get him into the boxing range because he's already got a good left hook, great overhand right. So I'm looking to do that instead of, the traditional golf or baseball.
All right. Well, that sounds fair. Hey, thanks, David. Wow. Next up, I'm from Philadelphia originally, as you can probably tell, even though I've lived down south longer than I lived up north. So I can't be alone here, being the only one from Philadelphia. So we brought here Joey Craney a few years back here to cover some projects and some investigative stuff for us. So Joey, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joey Craney. I am a government and investigative reporter based in Columbia. And since I've been here, I've covered corrupt sheriffs, corrupt judges, and before that, I spearheaded some reporting on Columbia's local elected prosecutor who was actually indicted and imprisoned on corruption charges. So that gives you an idea of the kind of work I like to do. I've been here for a little more than 2 years. As Andy mentioned, I'm from the Philadelphia area. And an interesting tie to Columbia is that I attended Temple University, which is the same place where the great coach Dawn Staley attended. So since I've come here, I've become a huge fan of the Gamecocks women's basketball team and a big fan of basketball in general. The other thing you should know about me is in my spare time, I run a weekly newsletter on local accountability journalism. It's called Local Matters, where a team of my friends and I, we basically just scour the country looking for the best examples of local investigative journalism. And all that is to say is that I'm really passionate about local investigative journalism. And I think this new expansion is a really great opportunity for our reporters to do that kind of public service work in the mission of the Post and Courier.
And to piggyback on that, what Joey was saying is that if we want to hear from you. We want to hear your tips. We want to hear what you're hearing and what you're getting about, what you're getting maybe upset about, or things that you think need to be rights that need to be wrong. It's really the core mission, I think, that the Post and Courier has adopted in the past few years. We've obviously usually done that with our investigative team that's based in Charleston, but now we have reporters in our regional newsrooms, such as here in Columbia, who are going to do that. And again, some of the work that Joey's done has already made a difference, just in the short amount of time he's been here. So thanks a lot, man. All right, next up, I went to school in Northwestern. And of course, I can always make a joke for those of you who know college football that I went to Northwestern for the football team. But that said, that means I need to have a Chicago connection in the room. And that would be my good friend, Mike Fitz here, who covers business for us. And Mike, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Andy. My name, as he said, is Mike Fitz, and I'm a business reporter covering things like retail and economic development. I've been writing and editing in Columbia for about 30 years, and a lot of that time has been about business and business-related issues. When I'm not covering things like that, you can have, at least for the last 8 or 9 years, find me on my weekends around soccer fields all around Columbia, since my now teenager has been a player for a long time. I really don't know what I'm going to do with my weekends when I don't have that occupying all my time. Here in Columbia, since I've been at the Post and Courier for a little bit more than a year, you've heard so much in the community when you talk to people about business and economic issues that are important to them. When you write stories about people maybe seeing their grocery store move or change or close, you get a lot of response, and that's a good thing. That means we're writing about things that people want to read, they want to know about. So as I said, I'll be focusing on retail and economic development here in Columbia. And the feedback that we get over and over just in the year that I've been with the Post and Courier is people really want this information. They're glad we're here. They're excited about it. So for those of you who I've already spoken to, or people out in the community who are reading us, subscribing to us, thank you so much. I think we're really well situated to meet that need. I can't tell you how many times people have said, oh man, it's great that y'all are here. I'm glad you're doing this. So I will see you at your local grocery store or out and about, or talk to you soon for many of you about what you want to see here in Columbia coming up.
Great, and Mike puts together a weekly business column of news and notes and all the rest of it, everything from retail to real estate development to commercial development to all of that. So please send Mike your tips. It's pretty easy, once again, to find on our website, postandcourier.com/Columbia. So send them those business tips and obviously let us inform you. So thanks, Mike. All right, well, next up, we have actually in Columbia, so as Mike told you, he's one of our business reporters. We actually have 2 business reporters here in Columbia. And let me go ahead and introduce you to our other business reporter here in town, Jessica Holdman. Jessica is, I'll let her obviously talk a little bit about her background. But I always have a big smile when I realize that her last job was in Bismarck, North Dakota, and what the weather change must be like for her in adjusting to that. But I'll let Jessica tell you more.
Thanks, Andy. Hi, everyone. As Andy said, my name is Jessica Holdman. I am also a business reporter along with Mike here in the Columbia office, and focus a lot on industry trends, economic development. Columbia and the surrounding towns have been growing quickly, and doing our best to keep up with that. As Andy said, I have been a business reporter actually for about 8 years, most of that in Bismarck, North Dakota. So yes, quite a big change in the weather, but really got introduced to the importance of local journalism starting up there, fell in love, and I'm so glad to be able to bring sort of that same mission here to Columbia, where we're covering the stories that really mean the most to you. When I'm not working, you usually can find me running. When I first moved to Columbia, I made the dire mistake of training for a marathon in the middle of a South Carolina summer, but have stuck with it and have lots of trails around town that I love to hit. So.
It ended up raining all during that marathon. So, I mean, it was, it's sort of got the both ends of it.
It was a monsoon marathon.
Very good. Thanks, Jessica. All right. Well, next up, part of what we're doing here, at Post and Courier Columbia is that, we have about 4.5 years ago, the parent company of the Post and Courier bought Free Times, and we made the decision to go ahead and kind of split the paper between Post and Courier Columbia and Free Times, and obviously Free Times do what it's been doing great for many, many years, which is covering arts, entertainment, food, music, concerts for many, many years. And Jordan Lawrence has been a big piece of that for the past 6 years here. He's the backbone of that. As I always tell him, he's the expert in these issues in town, and that if there's really nobody else I can think of who can tell me, let alone the history, the context of things here, but also obviously what's the cool stuff to do here in town. So I'll let Jordan tell you a little more about himself.
Andy, thanks. Yeah, like Andy said, my name is Jordan Lawrence. I'm the editor of Free Times. I grew up in Spartanburg, so I am a South Carolina native. Went to UNC Chapel Hill, and since then, for the last 10 years, I've been writing about arts and entertainment in various cities around the Southeast. For the last almost 7 here at Free Times. And I do what I do because I feel very passionately about the fact that arts and entertainment, and also food coverage that Free Times does, get the same kind of thoughtful, deep dive stuff that the Post and Courier does in every other aspect of the paper. So yeah, that's what I do here, and I look forward to keeping doing it.
Well, Jordan, okay. Somebody is new to town. Where are 3 places you would tell them to go? Eat, do stuff. Go.
Well, COVID makes that a little more complicated.
Okay, but in the pre-COVID, in the COVID, in the post-vaccine world.
The Wig is probably my go-to local hunt for whether you want a cheap beer or a really good burger. New Brooklyn Tavern's obviously kind of the heart of the local music scene, so I would say there. And I think the Nickelodeon is a real heartbeat spot of the arts and culture scene here. So.
Oh, great. Well, for more, as I said, week in, week out, this is the guy. Just that you want to read and you want to pay attention to. So please do. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks for coming in today, man. And the other thing is, as we are moving on to the next reporter we're going to do, is please send us your questions. You have the chance to, in the chat function, to send us questions about our coverage, anything along the lines. Also subscribing to the paper. That kind of thing. I might even give you my PIN number to my bank account. I'm not going to get much money, but who knows? If you ask the right question, I might give that out. So with no further ado, it's political season. We're 27 days. 27 days. 27? 26.
Something like that.
Okay, fine. It's a number. We're really close. Actually, we're less than a month before an election, and you need good political reporting, and we've got really good political reporting here with Jamie Lovegrove, who knows his numbers and knows his stuff. Jamie, tell everybody about yourself.
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, so I'm Jamie Lovegrove. I am a political reporter. I cover campaigns, the State House, the congressional delegation, and so obviously it is going to be a busy next few weeks for me. I am originally from Washington, D.C., and still occasionally go back there to check in with some of our South Carolina folks on the Hill. When I'm not here, I moved down here about 3.5 years ago, started working for the Post and Courier, and have been excited to see the Columbia office grow over that time. And, in terms of some of the things I like to do around town, around the state in general, particularly before COVID and hopefully afterwards, I travel a lot on the campaign trail, and whenever I'm going to any new city in South Carolina, I always try to stop by the best barbecue joint in town. I've got a running list that is now up to 78 around South Carolina. Obviously, many of them I've gone to quite a few times, especially the ones in the Columbia area, because the fact that I live here, some of my favorites around here are True Barbecue, Heights, Hudson's, Big T, Big Boys. We've got a wealth of good options around here. Also, I'd like to head out to Batesburg, Leesville for Sheely's as much as I can, but looking to return to that a little bit more, hopefully next year. So that's a little bit about me.
I think we need you and David. We need to, when David Clary goes on vacation, I think we know who we need to call on these things to do it. So obviously you're going to be busy. Thanks for stopping by, and keep an eye on Lindsay and Jamie for us. All right.
We'll do that.
All right. Thanks, man. All right. Wow. Up next is the living legend, Chris Traynor. Chris has been in town for, I believe, now 6 years. Coming from Greenwood. Chris has quite a presence on social media. If you follow him. He also was, and will continue in some ways, maybe to be a little bit of our social media voice as well as we move forward. He's there. And one of the things that we always kind of tease him about is obviously, when does he ever wear long pants? And this is one of the days that we've asked him to wear long pants as proof. There we go. Chris Traynor, take it away.
Well, thank you, Andy. First of all, it's a little intimidating to go behind Jamie Lovegrove here. He's off to write Ben Bradley fan fiction. Really, I like candlelight dinners and long strolls on the beach and John Carpenter movies. I hope you'll give me the rose.
I'm sorry, this is not a Match.com commercial.
Oh, gosh, that's later.
Plus, I think Christina might not like that, but I'm just saying.
Well, there you go. Christina is my wife, Christina Traynor, and we have an 11-year-old daughter, and we live in Lexington here. I am Chris Traynor. I'm a reporter here at Post and Courier Columbia. I've spent the previous 6 years with Free Times, as has been stated here, a sister publication of the Post and Courier. Do a lot of things, but probably my main thrust is covering Columbia City Hall, the Mayor Steve Benjamin's office keeps me busy, the council, as well as some Richland County politics as well, even some state legislature and federal politics that cross into my lane. We do a lot of fun things. I've done feature stories on spending a day at the flea market. I've spent time working in a corn dog stand at the state fair, which won us a state prize. We've done things like spend evenings working with the Columbia Fireflies baseball team and turning that into a big feature. Just doing all kinds of stuff here in Columbia, cultural, politics, and beyond. Originally, I'm from Abbeville, South Carolina. So like Jordan Lawrence, I'm a South Carolina native. Go Panthers. My wife and I do have an 11-year-old daughter, Charlie. I spent a number of years coaching her soccer team over in Lexington County, and she's into horse riding now. So I'll be out on the corner of Hardin and Gervais with a cup for any change or any other bills you might want to offer at this point in time. But I should say, you know, if anybody who's been following us along these last years, here at the corner of Hardin and Gervais, I am here. Jordan Lawrence is here. David Clary is here, along with our colleagues that you've heard from today. We're here for you, Columbia, and we'll continue to be. You can find me on Twitter at Chris Traynor SC, and email me, call me, whatever you need to do. I'm here.
And this is the man for local government coverage when it comes to covering City Hall and all the rest of it. This is the guy in town. So please, obviously, if you're concerned about some things in the city or in Richland County, this is your man right here. So Chris, go to your second job to take care of that horse hobby your daughter is taking up, and thanks a lot.
I'll do it. See you.
All right, thanks. Well, hey, just a reminder, please, you can send in questions, comments here that we'll talk about when we're done introducing the reporters. We're heading towards the end here. Got a couple more. The next one up is Avery G Wilkes, and the G stands for Gooner, which for those of you who follow English soccer is a fan of the Arsenal Football Club, and I have no idea who else might be a fan of the Arsenal Football Club. Probably me. As well. So that's why I brought, really 90% of the reason why we brought Avery over this year is because that way I'd have someone to cheer Arsenal on with me. But there are other reasons why I think he's a good journalist. I'm going to let Avery tell you about that.
Sure. I've been with the Post and Courier since January. I'm a South Carolina native, born and raised in the wonderful little town of Chester, South Carolina, which I wrote about this past weekend. And I have been in Columbia the past 9 years. I went to the University of South Carolina's top-ranked honors college, and I've been in Columbia ever since. Kind of fell in love with the town, and I've bounced around. I've lived in Casey, I've lived in Rosewood, I've lived in downtown. I've lived all over the place in Columbia, but I can't seem to shake the place. I am currently an investigative reporter for the Post and Courier Columbia. I have covered growth and development. I've covered crime and courts. I've spent several years covering the State House and politics, all of which has led me here. I kind of developed a knack for investigative reporting and deeper reporting when I covered the VC summer nuclear fiasco. I've been on that for about the past 3 years. I've covered corrupt electric cooperatives, you name it. All of that's kind of given me an interest in writing stories about power and the way people wield their power and how that affects the rest of us. So I'm very interested in political profiles and what goes on at the State House and what goes on in local communities as well. So if you have anything you think that we should be looking into, feel free to drop me a line. You can find my phone number and my email pretty easily. My Twitter handle is @Avery G Wilkes.
That's great. And again, we're here, Columbia, to obviously help, to report on the news and to maybe fix some things if there are some things that you think need to be fixed. As Avery and Joey are the dynamic duo we have up here to do it. Thanks, Avery. I appreciate it, man. And go Gunners.
Go Gunners.
All right. Well, finally, here, I don't have anything really to, I always, the joke in newspapers is I am not responsible for the person who delivers your newspaper or writes the editorials. So I'm not responsible for the next person. But I have worked with her for many years. I'm really glad that she's part of our team. She's based here in Columbia in our office, though, whenever I go by her desk, I don't look at her screen when I'm going over to the supply closet to get something, so I don't get a hint at what our editorials are going to say. But that said, Cindy Roscopi has been basically a fixture at the State House and in Columbia for quite some time. I won't say how long because I'm not supposed to say how long, but I'll let her actually talk about that. And Cindy, please tell everybody about a little bit of what you're doing.
Thanks, Andy. And actually, it's about 34 years, something like that. It's been a while. I started when I was 12. But thank you for that. And happy Wednesday, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us today. I cannot tell you how excited I am about being back in print in Columbia, South Carolina, as I have been for just about my entire professional career, my entire adult life. I grew up on a tobacco farm in North Carolina, went to the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, and then came to Columbia and worked for that other newspaper in town, the state newspaper, for 32 years. I started out as a reporter and spent most of that time covering the legislature and the governor's office and things like that. And then after about a dozen years, I became an editorial writer and columnist, where a lot of you got a chance to get to know me. A year and a half ago, I moved to the Post and Courier, but I did not move away from Columbia. I still live here. I still work here. I spend way too much of my free time working with my church downtown on Blanding Street, where I manage our Facebook page and our Sunday live stream and our web content. As Andy said, I am different from everybody else you met today. Everybody else that you've met, their job is to leave their opinions at home when they come to work. My job is to bring my opinions to the office and to share them with all of you. I write a weekly column, which we are going to now be co-publishing in the Post and Courier Columbia. In addition to that, I write 4 or 5 editorials every week. You won't be able to get those in print here in Columbia, but if you go to the main Post and Courier website and just scroll down to opinion, you can find them there. I also tweet out and post Facebook links on my page to all the editorials that I write. And one other thing I do, I write our opinion newsletter, which Andy, I noticed, did not mention earlier, but I do an opinion newsletter, which we send out every Monday evening, which is sort of a roundup of some of our big opinions that the editorial department has written over the past week. And I also try to do a little something extra that we haven't published yet. If you have not signed up for that, then as soon as we finish here, what you need to do is go sign up for the opinion newsletter. Andy.
Sign up in the same place as our other newsletters, by the way, or the Columbia newsletters as well. Sorry.
That is correct. Thanks. I'm done.
Oh, thank you, Cindy. And while I'm not allowed to have opinions about news stories, I can have opinions about your columns, right?
As long as you like them.
There you go. 2 thumbs up. There we go. Well, thank you, Cindy. I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time today, and thank you for everyone on our staff taking some time today to obviously talk a little bit. Thank you again, as Cindy said. Thank you for stopping by today. But we're also going to answer some questions. We're going to do that. I'd like to do it. But first of all, I just want to remind people that today is Wednesday, which means, hang on, let me do this the right way. We have our Post and Courier free times editions are out in the streets, 600 locations where you normally have gotten your free times at the same spot, so you can get those. And come hopefully in December at the moment, you'll be able to get a mail subscription to this as well if you want to. So I think we're ready to go and maybe answer some questions from folks. Whoops, I have, let's see, I am a novice at this kind of thing, and what have I done?
Andy, why don't I go ahead and give you some of the questions?
That'll be fine. Here it is. Okay, there we go. I see them now.
Okay.
Okay. Please share the name of the person covering the State House. I missed it. Okay, well, that's a good. We have 2 people who basically cover the State House for us. They are Shauna Hadcox, and she is at Adcox, ADCOX, at postandcourier.com, and Jamie Lovegrove, and that's J Lovegrove, LOVEGROVE, at postandcourier.com. So Vicki, those are the two reporters who cover the State House for us at the moment. Hello, will there be a statewide subscription for those of us who want news from across SC? Yes, there is. As I said, when you do subscribe online for an online subscription with the Post and Courier, you get everything. Actually our parent company, Evening Post Industries, publishes. So that's everything from the Post and Courier, the news that we have in Charleston, to the newsrooms we have in Myrtle Beach, Greenville, here in Columbia, as well as our sister papers in Aiken, Somerville, Moncks Corner, and all the rest of them that I can't name off the top of my head. But we have a number of them, a number of papers community papers that we own as well. You get access to all of those, so it's a great deal for one price. So yes, you'll be able to do that. It's not just Columbia News that you'll be doing it. Another question I see is this is from Brick Lewis here from the State Firefighters Association. He asks, how do we share news releases via email? At the moment, send them to me. I am at Ashane, ASHAIN at postandcourier.com. Also, if you don't remember my email address, it is on my Twitter bio, and my Twitter is at Andy Shane, ANDYSHAIN. Obviously, feel free to send me your news releases, send me anything. We want to know about this. We have an anonymous attendee who's asking us, who says, thank you for all you do, excited about the expansion. Not sure if this is the full team, but what steps are you taking to increase diversity on your team, both in gender and ethnicity? I think that's an excellent question. We obviously, at the Post and Courier overall, we do obviously value gender and gender diversity, racial diversity, any sort of diversity. Obviously, that's out there, we're working on that. And obviously, as we get openings, we consider all candidates for those openings. So it's something that hopefully we'll address as we move forward, but I think that's a fair question and a good question. Thank you for asking it. Love the piece on uncovering dark money's influence in campaign advertising. We need more daylight on things like that and to that kind of thing. So tell Avery, Joey, and Jamie to get ample numbers on about the politicians around here, and they can. This person says they can point us in the right direction. So Penny, I would ask that you go ahead and email Avery, Joey, Jamie with the information you have. They'd be happy to look into it. Thank you for watching today, Penny. Patrick says, congrats. I saw an actual print copy this morning getting bagels. That's great. I'm glad to see that the paper is getting around. As I said, it comes out on Wednesdays, just like we have been for many, many years with free times here in town at the same locations. And as I said, come December, we'll be able to mail it to you. So there we go. Praise for Cindy Roscopi is that saying that she's the best watchdog or conscience of our state political community in South Carolina. So there you go, Cindy. Some fan mail there for you. And Matt says a great job and great reporting, and he's very, very impressed that Chris Traynor is wearing pants today. That made Matt's day. So we're glad that even the small things that we do make your day. So thank you very much for that, Matt. As I said, willing to answer anytime, any place, questions for things or comments. As I said, feel free to reach out to me. Again, I wanted to just remind you, you can obviously I've talked about getting physical copies of the paper all over town. You can also obviously look us up at postandcourier.com/Columbia. Let's see, another atta-girl for Cindy, saying that for holding folks accountable from Tom Langston. So Tom, thank you. And again, I'm going to have to sit here and I don't know if Cindy's head is going to fit through the door anytime soon, but we'll go there. Hey, this is a good one. Where is your office in Columbia? Our office in Columbia is at the corner of Gervais and Hardin. We're in the gray building. You might remember it as the Liberty Tax Building. Remember the Liberty Tax person in front of it. So there you are. We're right there. So please come visit us. We're overlooking. We're at on the edge of the Waverly neighborhood here, next to 5 Points. So obviously, come on by and visit if you'd like to. Obviously, I understand that might not happen as often as we kind of go through the pandemic, but yes, we're right here in town, and that's where our office is. We have someone here who says China, who says that she is a member of the Chris Traynor fan club, and at this point, I'm thinking about starting one and charging dues. I think that might be a revenue stream for the paper at this point. And yes, Chris, we would give you a small cut of it for sure, and that way you could buy more long pants. So that would be fine. Here we have someone who's saying that we need more investigative journalism in Columbia. So and is thankful that we're here to do it. So Scott, thank you very much for that. Someone noting the mural that we have on the side of the building here. When we took over the building, we have kind of this sort of thin wall along Gervais, that mural that the folks at One Columbia helped us put together that celebrates the Waverly neighborhood called The Wave. I highly recommend seeing it. It's a nice piece of artwork and nice to be connected literally to it on all of that. So so please check it out. I think it's worth going. Okay, looking at this is from Joe. Looking at my e-edition today, did not see the Free Times PNC part. Is it look for the e-edition somewhere? Let me step back. Wondering if the e-edition of the paper is somewhere on the site. I will look into that, Joe. That's a good question. Obviously, as some of these things have taken off, we're going through some of the logistics, and I'll take a look out for that. But that's a good question. We will have an e-edition. If we don't already have it up, we'll get it up, and that's an excellent point brought up by Joe.
I just want to address to Joe's question. We
actually please. Chris Zeller, go ahead.
We do have the e-paper online. If you go to postingcourier.com/Columbia and just click on e-paper, the Post and Courier Columbia and the Free Times is published right now. So if you can't find
yes,
it,
in fact, I just did a double check. Yes, it is. It is. If you go to the to the Columbia page and click on the e-edition, yes, there you go. I apologize. I hadn't had a chance to do that this morning. It's been a kind of a crazy day. We had a Pints and Politics here in Columbia with Senate candidate Jamie Harrison. We were at River Rat doing that, so it's been a kind of a busy day. So I apologize for missing that. And Chris, thank you for covering me on that. So again, any other comments, questions before we sort of wrap up here? I'm happy to answer.
Andy, we have another question. This one's from Carly. She was asking where they can pick up the one of the copies of the print edition, and another one is what kind of newsletters are available right now specific to Columbia?
We have I think where you can pick up the paper location on, actually I think it still might be on the Free Times page, but I'll probably, what I'll do is I'll tweet out the link to where you can pick up the paper. So you can please do that. Again, my Twitter account is @AndyShane. I'll also tweet it out on our new Twitter handle, which is @PC Columbia as well. So please look for that, and I'll get that out there. And then the newsletters, we're going to have, as I said, 4 of them. We have a newsletter, a news newsletter that we put out on Wednesdays. We put out our first one today. Then we're going to have a food newsletter and a weekend newsletter going out on Wednesday and Thursday as well. And then eventually we're going to have a business newsletter going out. We're going to get that up and running fairly soon. So look for that. So we'll have 4 newsletters coming out of this office. So Neil has asked, when did I start styling my hair like Henry McMaster? How do you know that Henry McMaster is not styling his hair after me, is what I have to say. There we go. And Laura says she's looking forward to some great journalism here. Obviously, thank you very much. We appreciate that. And Tracy Broom says that she really appreciates the hard work we do to tell the community's stories. And from the hyper-local lifestyle news to statewide business coverage and beyond. Thanks. And Tracy, thank you very much for that. Obviously, we have Ashley here telling us congratulations on the successful launch. Very excited for seeing more increased in-depth journalism and for continued cultural coverage in the Free Times. And I think that's what's important. I think what we're offering here with the Post and Courier Columbia and Free Times is a complete package from what to do on a Saturday night to, obviously looking at what's happening at your schools or with your local governments, things, such as, the latest news on things such as the Gamecocks or, opinion on issues at the State House. So we're really happy to give you that complete package. And again, go to the postandcourier.com and subscribe, because first of all, that supports the journalism that we do. I mean, honestly, as advertising has dwindled, we're becoming more of a subscriber-based organization. I mean, that's the way the business model is. So the way this happens is that you subscribe, we get paid, and we get to do those good stories that you get to do. David gets to cover the Gamecocks. Cindy gets to write about what's going on at the State House. David Clary gets to write about food, all the rest of it. So please do all that. And obviously, it's someone here is mentioning the Darren Horn era from when I covered USC basketball. I'm not going to go ahead and revisit that, Mary Pat, at the moment. But that said, as I said, I appreciate the nice words and the kind words we've been hearing from folks. As we're trying to integrate things between the Post and Courier and Free Times. I think it'll be a good marriage, and it has been a good. Excuse me. It has been a good relationship, a good marriage, and I think it'll continue to be so as we move forward. And again, I want to hear what you think. I want to hear your story ideas. I want to hear your compliments. I do want to hear your complaints, believe it or not. I look forward to the Post and Courier being here for a long time. I look forward to being here for a long time, as long as everyone will have me. And as I said, I have a great staff. I mean, I'm spoiled. Quite honestly, with all the people. As I said, you met 11 of them today, 11 of us today. 2 of us weren't here, but it's amazing. It's an amazing team that we have here together, and the amount of experience in Columbia that we bring. Cindy having been here more than 3 decades. David having covered the Gamecocks for 2 decades. Shauna covering the State House for close to 2 decades. As I said, I've been here for close to 15 years in South Carolina, most of my adult life. You heard all the people talk about how they were born here, raised here. They know this place. This is a reflection of us being the Post and Courier becoming a statewide paper, becoming focused on the communities across the state. I know it's weird to think the Post and Courier in Columbia, but yeah, we're here. And we're going to be covering all sorts of things. And as I said, if there's something you think we're missing, we don't want to miss out. Please include us. And also, please, for those of you who are watching, who have sort of regular mail lists that you might send to other media around town, please include me on your mailing lists. We want to know what you're doing. We want to know what you're up to. So I'm not seeing any more questions, answers, comments at this point. I'm going to go ahead and I think wrap things up. And as I said, communication lines are open. There's about 1,000 different ways to reach us, to reach me. And I want to say thank you to everybody who took the time today to watch this, to learn more about our team, and to learn more about the Post and Courier Columbia and Free Times. So thanks.